You're watching EAC News. Thanks for joining us. The Ministry of Tourism has made an announcement welcoming Chinese visitors and hopes that their return will spur tourism growth and socioeconomic development in Cambodia. In a press release issued on Thursday, the Ministry of Tourism stated that Cambodia is delighted to welcome Chinese tourists to Cambodia once again without any health restrictions. The release stressed that Cambodia is ready to receive Chinese tourists as well as other international tourists. Since Cambodia announced the reopening of the country in 2022, the royal government has also lifted other health restrictions to facilitate travel. The ministry press release read, "Cambodia is a warm, safe tourist destination because Cambodia is a country that has been evaluated by the World Health Organization as a leading country in providing vaccines to people and has established good immunity within the community. It is also the first to reopen the country and socioeconomic activity in the region, adhering to the principle of learning to live with COVID-19 in the new normal." Prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, in 2019, about 155 million Chinese tourists traveled overseas, accounting for 10% of all 1.5 billion tourists worldwide, spending a total of nearly $258 billion on tourism, which is roughly one-fifth of the $1.3 trillion in global tourism expenditures. In 2018, Cambodia received more than 2.3 million Chinese tourists, accounting for 35.7% of the total 6.6 million international tourists and accounting for about $1.8 billion from a total tourism revenue of $5 billion. Cambodia is expected to receive about 7 million international tourists in 2025, as planned in the roadmap for the recovery and promotion of tourism in Cambodia during and after the COVID-19 pandemic. You're watching EAC News. Thanks for joining us. The former minister attached to the Prime Minister, Dr. Khaw Kim Hoon, departed from Cambodia on Friday morning to Jakarta, Indonesia, in order to take up his position as the incumbent Secretary General of ASEAN from 2023. EAC News had the privilege of speaking with the Secretary General this morning, just a few hours before his flight. Our reporter Anthony Ellis has the story.
Speaking to EAC News before his departure, Dr. Khaw Kim Hoon expressed his delight in assuming the new position and pledged to do his utmost support both the ASEAN chair and Asian activities. Dr. Khaw Kim Hoon also elaborated on the different roles the Secretary General and the country holding the ASEAN chairmanship play.
The ASEAN chairman is the leadership position role, meaning that all 10 countries, by charter, ASEAN charter, they take leadership role through annual rotation. The Secretary General of ASEAN is to play a supporting role.
It should be noted that through the trust and support of the 2022 Asian Chair, Prime Minister Hun Sen, and the support of all 10 Asian members, Dr. Khaw Kim Hoon was chosen as the next Asian Secretary General, succeeding from Secretary General Dato Lim Jok Hoi, who completed his term. The former minister attached to the Prime Minister is the first Cambodian to hold the post of the Asian Secretary General. He will hold this position for the next 5 years. Stay tuned for a full exclusive interview with Dr. Khaw Kim Hoon from the VIP terminal at Phnom Penh International Airport just a few hours before his departure to Indonesia. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thanks for joining us. The Minister of Justice has issued instructions on the procedures to be implemented for juvenile victims in criminal cases in order to ensure that proceedings protect the mental state of victims. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has more.
The Minister of Justice, Khaw Rit, stated the guideline issued on Wednesday that the Ministry of Justice has noted the efforts of judges and prosecutors in fulfilling their duties and responsibilities in resolving criminal cases in accordance with the provisions of the Criminal Procedure Code and related provisions, particularly to seek the truth and provide legal justice to the relevant parties, as well as to ensure the effective enforcement of the law. He pointed out some prosecutions and judicial procedures have not yet apparently addressed unique suspects of criminal cases, particularly those involving juvenile victims. This could compromise the efficiency of the fact-finding procedure and jeopardise the interests of young victims who are protected by both national and international law. The guidelines state that during the investigation, questioning and the trial of minors under 10 years of age, Prosecutors must visit the victim's residence to hear their answers as well as to complete and carry out necessary procedures. Prime Minister Hun Sen advised the ministry to consider not taking a female victim of abuse under the age of 5 to court, as the court processes have a face abuser could traumatise the young victim further. This advice was made at the request of the president of AFSLP Cambodia. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thanks for joining us. 2 children were hospitalized at the Jayavarman 7th Hospital, also known as Kantabopa 3, in Siem Reap Province on Wednesday, after one child swallowed a coin which got stuck in his esophagus, and the other child swallowed a needle that got stuck in his stomach. The first case involves a 3-year-old boy from Siempang district in Stung Treng province who had a coin stuck in his esophagus for 3 months. He was late in receiving treatment because his parents could not afford the cost of traveling to the hospital. The second case involves an 11-month-old toddler from Phuoc district, Siem Reap province, who was sent to the emergency room after swallowing a needle which had been stuck in his stomach for 12 hours. The hospital has confirmed that all medical care is provided to the children free of charge, thanks to the generosity of all the hospital's benefactors, who are primarily Swiss and Cambodian donors to the Kantabopa Foundations of Switzerland and Cambodia. You're watching EAC News. Thanks for joining us. The Sihanoukville administration has instructed vendors to stop selling items and charging for seating and table space on public beaches after social media posts documenting a dispute between vendors over beach guests was shared on social media. The administration made this announcement on Friday morning. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has more.
On Thursday, a group of beach vendors in Sihanoukville quarrelled over public beach space, and some of the tourists who were there at the time posted videos of the argument on social media, causing social disorder. Earlier Tuesday, the Sihanoukville administration had publicly reminded members of the public that the beaches are open to all tourists. The administration issued a follow-up announcement after some vendors took advantage of the public beach space and rented out tables and chairs to tourists. The administration stresses that there should be no charge to visit the beach and everyone should be able to freely use the public beach spaces for picnics. The beach should not be used as a personal place of business. In the event of beachgoers encountering some charges money on public beaches, the administration urges them to contact the administration's team at 096 723 6600. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
Som krap ថ្វាយបង្គំប្រកាសរណាជាអង្គម្ចាស់ជីវិតលើត្បូងព្រះបាទសម្ដេចព្រះបរមនាថព្រះមហាក្សត្រនៃព្រះរាជាណាចក្រកម្ពុជាជាទីគោរពសក្ការៈដ៏ខ្ពង់ខ្ពស់បំផុតសូមក្រាបថ្វាយបង្គំសម្ដេចព្រះមហាក្សត្រីព្រះវររាជមេដាជាតិខ្មែរក្នុងសេរីភាពសេចក្តីថ្លៃថ្នូរនិងសុភមង្គលសម្ដេចម៉ែសម្ដេចយាយសម្ដេចយាយទួតជាទីគោរពសក្ការៈដ៏ខ្ពង់ខ្ពស់បំផុតសូមគោរពសម្ដេចព្រះអង្គម្ចាស់ក្សត្រីទ្រង់អាយដាមអ្នកអង្គញាលោកជំទាវលោកស្រីទូរទស្សនិកជនទាំងក្នុងនិងក្រៅប្រទេសជាទីគោរពប្រវត្តិដ៏ឈឺចាប់លើការកាប់សម្លាប់អាយុជីវិតប្រជាពលរដ្ឋពីរបបពេជ្ឈឃាតក្នុងគុកឥតចិញ្ចៀងកម្ពុជាប្រជាធិបតេយ្យនៅតែជាមេរៀនសម្រាប់កម្ពុជានៅគ្រប់ជំនាន់និងសម័យកាលបន្តទៅមុខព្រះរាជាណាចក្រកម្ពុជាទទួលបាននៅកិត្យានុភាពនិងកេរ្តិ៍ឈ្មោះបោះសម្លេងនៅក្នុងឆាកអន្តរជាតិក្រោមការដឹកនាំដ៏ឈ្លាសវៃរបស់សម្ដេចអគ្គមហាសេនាបតីតេជោហ៊ុនសែននាយករដ្ឋមន្ត្រីនៃព្រះរាជាណាចក្រកម្ពុជាជាពិសេសគោលនយោបាយឈ្នះនិងកម្ពុជាក្នុងសុខសន្តិភាពហើយក្នុងឱកាសអបអរសាទរខួបអនុស្សាវរីយ៍លើកទី44ថ្ងៃជ័យជំនះ7មករាលើរបបប្រល័យពូជសាសន៍កម្ពុជាប្រជាធិបតេយ្យសមាគមទូរទស្សន៍កម្ពុជាបានរៀបចំកម្មវិធីចម្រៀងចម្រុះក្រោមកិច្ចសហការជាមួយអគ្គនាយកដ្ឋានវិទ្យុជាតិកម្ពុជា ចងក្រងបាននៅកម្មវិធីពិសេសមួយដែលសូមបង្ហាញជូនទូរទស្សនិកជនទស្សនាវគ្គទី2ដែលមានបទចម្រៀងជាបន្តបន្ទាប់ដូចតទៅ
40 ឆ្នាំបងហើយនឹងស្រីសាងជីវិតថ្មីលើទឹកដីចាស់7 មករាភ្លឺថ្លាត្រចាស់ដូចសូរ្យរាំងពីទិសបូពីចេញពីពលពតគ្មានសល់អ្វីឡើយសូម្បីខ្នាយកាយគ្មានផងពុំងាតែយើងតស៊ូស្លាប់រស់នឹងគ្នាផុតទុក្ខវេទនារួមមានសេរីក្រោមពុនលើច័ន្ទ7 មករាបងនឹងជីវ៉ារស់នៅមានន័យពលពតរស់នៅផិតភ័យរស់គ្មានសេរីដូចស្លាប់ទាំងរស់ឥឡូវយើងរស់ដោយសប្បាយមានប្រាក់កាំងចាយមានអ្វីទាំងអស់អាយកូនយើងរៀនក៏បានខ្ពង់ខ្ពស់មានកិត្តិយសជួយកសាងជាតិក្រោមពុនលើច័ន្ទ7 មករាបងនឹងជីវ៉ារស់នៅមានន័យខំពីពលពតរស់នៅផិតភ័យរស់គ្មានសេរីដូចស្លាប់ទាំងរស់ឥឡូវយើងរស់ដោយសប្បាយមានប្រាក់កាំងចាយមានអ្វីទាំងអស់អាយកូនយើងរៀនក៏បានខ្ពង់ខ្ពស់មានកិត្តិយសជួយកសាងជាតិខ្មៅចិត្តឆៅជួជាតិបណ្ដេញញោមញាតឃ្លាតចាក់ភូមិស្រុកបែកបាក់គ្រួសារហូបខ្វះក្រោយមុខប្រត់ស្លាប់ប្រត់ទុកគុកឥតណាជញ្ជាំងក្នុងរបបនោះគ្មានសោះត្រឹមត្រូវមានតែសោកសៅរស់នៅភ័ន្តភាំងដេកលក់មួយយប់គិតថាសំណាងក្រោកឡើងស្លេកស្លាំងចេញទៅធ្វើការ អត់ក្រិតមេត្រាលុបប្របីនៃជំនឿសាសនាគ្មានសិទ្ធិតវ៉ាគ្មានសិទ្ធិណារឹងគូការសួរសុខទុក្ខអ្នកឈឺឬជីពួកអង្គការមីមិនអោយគិតគូបានគុណមករាទេវតាពីធ្នូមករាគុំរូអោសតស័ក្តិសិទ្ធិ